Insider Crusaders. You know, I start off every hour at the top of the hour saying America's the greatest country in the world. San Diego's America's finest city. And this is the day to prove that. And you have, of course. But we need you to donate. No freeloading. We don't ask you to pay for anything, ever. The show's free. The station's free. This is the one payment. I love A&G. I was talking to Jack earlier, in particular. And he said, this isn't even a donation. This is your duty. This isn't just a nice thing to do. This is your duty. This is an obligation. And I'll be so bold, especially to live here in San Diego, which is a veteran town, more veterans here than any other county in the country. This is it. It's an honor. It's a privilege to live here amongst so many veterans. So let's be grateful and give some money so that these guys can go home as opposed to being in the hospital or as opposed to being in the barracks alone, which is unacceptable after all they've done. So 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. You can give a call, and only one call is used right now. Only one phone. 1-800-760-KFMB. So get these guys working hard, or you can donate online, 760kfmb.com. I want to thank Benjamin, giving $25, Michael for $100, Jeff for $200, Carla $250. You know, $5 a week is awesome. Just tell them you want to give $5 a week. That'll send someone home. And just give $500 too. That's about what a plane ticket is, right? $500. So you get $500, get these guys home, and get them that gift. Adam's here. Adam, how are you, brother?
Doing well yourself.
Good to talk to you. You're one of my favorites, Adam.
Oh, thank you.
All these veterans, because I think you have such a fascinating story and a fascinating recovery. Especially because we were just talking to Dr. Phillips?
Kevin Murphy.
Dr. Murphy. About PTSD.
Yes.
So, can I summarize your story real quick and correct me where I'm wrong? You were in Iraq.
No.
Where? Afghanistan.
Guam.
Never would have guessed Guam. Guam, a satellite dish.
Yes.
Was not pointed towards a satellite. It was pointed towards your brain.
Towards the tent we were in, and I was a field radio operator, so I had overexposure to the radio waves. Think of it like a magnifying glass and how you can like fry ants or like carve wood. That kind of happened to my head.
Okay. Every year I learn more about this story. So there are 4 of you in this tent.
Correct.
2 of the guys have died.
Correct.
What's the situation with the other guy?
Haven't heard anything. He kind of ghosted, so we don't know what's going on.
Which is why Warrior Foundation's here.
Correct.
Right? So Adam here, brain cancer? So they?
Yes.
Okay. So they removed what part of your brain?
Right temporal lobe. I'm missing about a baseball size worth of brain.
Okay. How quickly before you had symptoms of this?
1 week.
Yeah. So a week after you had seizures.
Yes. We were coming back and I was driving and had a seizure while driving.
Okay. So they take out this part of your brain. Okay. So what does this part of the brain do?
It was a lot to do with cognitive function and memory.
So how bad was your memory when you woke? No, so and by that you mean is this after surgery? So they had to take it all out, right?
Correct.
That part.
So I had my first surgery on Friday the 13th of March, about 4 years ago. And this was with the Naval Medical Center San Diego. They had an equipment failure halfway through the procedure.
What?
So
see, again, every year I learn something more about this story. What do you mean an equipment failure?
So they couldn't find, there's no imaging or anything to identify what was normal brain and what was cancerous. So they had to shut me back up and then do a procedure the following Monday.
So when you woke up the first time?
Oh, I felt great and everything was good. It's like, oh, okay.
And they had to tell you they didn't do it?
Yeah, they only got half of it, so they had to go back in the following Monday.
Good night. Okay, all right. Skipping past that part. So this part of the brain deals so memory. So when you woke up from that, what did you remember or not remember?
After the second surgery, I was in a fog for a good while. I couldn't talk, couldn't walk. I didn't even realize I had a younger brother until my family reintroduced me to him.
Did they prepare you for that?
Not so much.
Really?
They kind of told my parents, but I was kind of excluded from that conversation. And it took me... the therapy and recovery was about 2.5 years. So
what did you have to relearn?
Everything. I had to relearn how to walk, to talk, the filter problem. So before the incident, I could speak German and some Russian. and I couldn't even learn English, so I had to relearn that. I was really good in high school, and now I had to take like a year of remedial college to relearn everything.
Wait, so you lost all your you can't speak German anymore?
Somewhat. I'm relearning
Yeah, but you have to
it,
relearn it all now.
Correct.
Wow. Okay, so this is what Adam showed me a picture of his brain scans earlier, and showed me the part missing. So this is how I interpreted your description. Because I asked what's the other half of the brain. So the other side of the brain you said was what?
More like your function, like picking up objects and that kind of stuff,
Okay.
motor movement.
So you said if the other side of your brain got removed, you couldn't physically pick up a pen.
Correct.
You wouldn't be able to move your hand and fingers enough precisely to pick up a pen.
I couldn't breathe out a machine or anything like that.
Really? Okay, so that's at the other side of your brain. But the part of the brain that did get removed, you can pick up the pen, you just don't know what a pen is.
Correct. I did a lot of the word searching, and I describe everything like repetitively to, okay, so that's what it is, like the pen incident. It goes in your hand, you sign a check, it has ink.
But you couldn't think of pen.
Correct.
Wow. So which side of the brain are you grateful, or would if you had to choose, which would you have chosen?
None of it, but I've recovered pretty well from what's happened to me, so I'm okay with it being my right temporal lobe.
So the reason I bring all this up is, and I'll never forget this, we've known each other for 4 or 5 years or whatever, how long? And we talked earlier, and it was the first time I saw you laugh.
Yes.
You laughed. And I said, Adam, you just laughed. And do you remember what you said?
I kind of have to tell myself to do so.
You mean my joke wasn't so funny that you just couldn't control yourself? You had to force yourself to laugh? No,
very internal laughter.
Yes, so you don't involuntarily have an emotion.
To a degree, yes, but it's all internal. Like, I'm very good poker face, and, you can't tell if I've got good cards or not.
So you had to say, whenever it was a couple hours ago, you would say, "Oh, that was a funny moment. I need to laugh."
Respond. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Just that seems like huge growth, especially from 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
When you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to recover as well as I have, and it's really due to Warrior Foundation.
Okay, let's bring this back around, because I can keep asking a million questions like this because I'm so fascinated by it. But so how did Warrior Foundation save your life compared to? Well, the other two guys physically didn't make it, but the other one, who knows, right? So you're way ahead of them. So why?
Yeah, so I do quite a bit of therapy and treatment to reintroduce society into my life, and the foundation really helps me with that. So I know how to talk to older people, know how to talk to younger people. I have a special tutor to help me in school, to relearn this stuff, and that's all due to the foundation. So another thing that they've been doing for not too long, but a couple months,
It's $1,000 right there.
is we have it's like a peer-to-peer group where we get all our warriors active duty that have cancer, and we get them together to discuss their issues, and the foundation pays for that. So we'll jump from restaurant to restaurant. And
Oh yeah, we had the restaurant association earlier.
Correct,
And they said the
yeah.
restaurant will give you guys a free dinner, and you guys get to come together and bond.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
because we get a lot of guys and gals that their family and friends don't know how to deal with cancer.
Yeah.
So we have another people that have experienced the same thing or going through something very
Because
similar.
otherwise, we just say all the wrong things. Like these dumb questions I'm throwing your way, and you're holding back from smacking me. But
no,
people
you're good.
people say that these guys know, right?
Correct,
Everyone
yeah.
knows, and that's so important. And without Warrior Foundation to plug you in, who knows, right?
Exactly. And they've really taken the extra effort to help me go from the corporal to the mister environment. I still work at Balboa, where I have integration with both Marines and sailors and civilians. So I'm in a very good spot where we know each other, we know how to work with one another, versus the civilian world, which is go figure it out on your own. And the foundation kind of gives the guidance that the military has provided.
All right, so 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362 to donate. Have you gotten a trip home before?
I have.
When was that?
About a year and a half ago.
Oh, recently. Okay, where's home?
Idaho.
Okay.
It's a little cold, 7 degrees and a foot and a half of snow. I'd rather have Christmas down here.
Alas, it was still we still sent you there. Good to be home with the fam.
It was really good. I got to spend it like with my dad and my brother. You know, you have the Christmas tree, the house decorated, and just quality family time.
I bet that meant a lot to your dad and bro too, right?
It did.
Because you're down here all the time.
I am. There's like about 900 miles apart.
Yeah. And going through this, that's got to be tough for your family too to have you so far apart.
Yeah,
So
I
far
stressed
away.
my dad out pretty good.
Why is that? What is he?
Just like all the medical stuff.
Yeah, because you've had 600 doctor's appointments in 3 years?
637 was my 3-year mark, to be precise.
Wow. So you're sending guys like Adam home here. And I wanted to talk to Adam again. That's another $1,000 donation, that cowbell. I want to talk to Adam because there's a lot of guys here walking around with prosthetics, missing arms, missing legs. And you don't have that. You're intact, visibly.
And I do get that a lot. People are like, well, what's your injury? We don't see it.
Yeah. How does that
And-
make you feel? What do you think about that? Do you guys have like a pecking order for that kind of stuff or what?
Yes and no, like sibling rivalry. Like,
yeah.
But I
which
feel-
is funny because it's like backwards. It's like, well, I lost all 4 limbs, right? It's like
I know. But I'm very blessed with my situation, and I'm very grateful to be alive. I mean, San Diego has been like my key place for recovery. We have so many like veterans and military-friendly communities. It's absolutely amazing to be here. I really do love it.
Okay. I've told a couple people your story already today, like in the
That's
hallways and
fine.
stuff. Someone asked, do you love? Can you love?
Don't know yet. Haven't found the chick.
You've been asked that before. Did you have to remember how to do that? How to love?
Kind of.
How to show it?
That's a very gray area for me. Like my younger brother got blown up a couple months ago, and
What does that mean?
like he's missing part of his hand and damage to his
Like
arm.
veteran too?
Military, yes.
No way. What happened? So what happened?
His wasn't combat injured, but his was aviation mechanic, so he has like equipment failure that kind of exploded on him. So he's like.
So what did he
missing
lose?
Part of his left hand.
Geez, your parents.
I know. I kind of prepped him for a heart attack, so.
Wow. Okay. So that's awful. Continue your story.
But like I'm around it quite a bit, and when I was like present for his case, like I was fairly calm, and I'm around it, so I know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I still love him, but you know, it's not very. I don't really show it that
Yeah.
well. So that's something I've been working on for a while.
Interesting. You have to relearn that. But again, so important to be at Warrior Foundation, where you're with all these guys, where you can keep working out that muscle.
Exactly.
It's really. I can't remember. It seems like it's just like working out a new prosthetic.
Yes, it really is, and it's a lot more challenging because I had to relearn how to walk again. So I know how to like take the step forward, but emotion, that's something like no
Totally
one can
different
really
muscle.
tell you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I love this, but you don't. And
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Someone else
stuff like
asked,
that.
do you get scared? Is
Yes.
fear an emotion?
well, so I was diving out in Catalina, and there's about a 6.5-foot leopard shark swam underneath me. I almost had a heart attack. but-
Interesting. But so that one wasn't like, oh look, leopard shark, right?
No,
Like,
it swam like legit from my feet to my face, and it took me a minute to realize it was a leopard shark.
yeah. That's amazing. Hey man, listen, I'm gonna keep asking you ignorant questions like that every single year.
No,
But
I'm
seems
open.
like you're doing great, man, and you're here and you look great, and awesome to hear good news coming, bro.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam. 1-800-760-KFMB. Do you have a last minute push for people to donate right now? Why is it important to go home for Christmas?
A lot of our guys and gals haven't seen home for maybe a year to 2 years, and if they are in a not so good situation, it's always good to see mom and dad and have that moral support.
I'm trying to think who, when you call in, so like Michelle just gave $500, so that's a plane ticket home. I wonder who Michelle thought of when she gave. Right, that's what's so interesting.
And that's really kind of her to donate that much.
It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I hate buying plane tickets. It's like I get enraged when I buy plane tickets. It's like because they're too expensive, and it's about $500. That's about what plane tickets are. Depends where you go, obviously, right? But that's about what it is. So to give that is a lot. But it's like, is Michelle thinking of Esther, who is going to go home and see her grandmother for the last time. This is her last Christmas with Grandma. You know Esther, right? You guys?
I do, yeah.
Are you thinking of Chris, who last year was in the hospital? He was having seizures, among other. He was hooked up to a bunch of stuff. So he couldn't go, so they flew his wife from San Diego out to Walter Reed. So are you thinking about that when you give? Are you imagining someone like Josue, who's missing an eye and both legs, or one? I know one.
One leg.
One leg, yeah. Are you thinking of him? Are you thinking of Adam here, who's missing part of his brain?
Or John or Jane Doe that we don't know about and that we'll never see or hear their story, but we'll still send them home.
Yeah. Well, think of whoever you want. Whatever makes you give, do it. Because it's true. Helping a lot of people. 1-800-760-KFMB. 1-800-760-KFMB. Let me refresh this here. We're at $897,000. That means we have one. Oh, and we have a match. We had a $25,000 match for the next 7 minutes, too. And I don't know where we're at on that. But your donation right now will be doubled for the next 7 minutes. So get that done. And we'll get to 900,000. And do you think we can get to 1 million by the end of by 3 o'clock? That would be outrageous. So please be a part of that. 1-800-760-KFMB. Every donation counts. You give $5 a week. That's just give me $5. That'd be awesome. That's a plane ticket home. $500, and just be like, hey, here's my $500. 1-800-760-KFMB. 1-800-760-5362. Or donate online, 760kfmb.com. It's the Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Radiothon. Eric, let's hear a little bit from what we just mentioned, Esther. Let's hear from Esther. We'll be reminded of her story.
So I decided to join the Navy because I have a lot of family members that were in the service. My father was in the Navy. My uncle was in the Army. My grandpa was in the Air Force. The other grandpa was in the Navy. And I had an aunt that was in the Navy Reserves. And I wanted to show the females that we can do anything that we wanted to do. So I joined the military in 2007. And my first duty station was here in San Diego at Naval Base Coronado. I was an air traffic controller. Then I got transferred to the USS George H.W. Bush, and we deployed in 2014. Saw some things that were pretty hard to see. And after that, I got stationed back here in Coronado. And when I was transferring from Norfolk to San Diego, my car was totaled by an 18-wheeler. I ended up with a traumatic brain injury and PTSD, along with a couple of other. That's where I was introduced to Warrior Foundation Freedom Station. It's meant the world to me. The Warrior Foundation Freedom Station came into my life at the perfect time. I didn't know where I was going to be living. I wasn't going to be able to afford living here, and I thought I was going to end up living out of my car. And Sandy took me in, and I couldn't be more grateful to this organization. The Warrior Foundation Freedom Station has a program, Home for the Holidays, and last year I was able to be a part of it, and I was able to go home to Oregon to visit my grandma because she has Alzheimer's. Took a little bit of poking and prodding to get her to remember me, but she remembered me, and it meant the world to me because I finally got that last time with her. And I couldn't be more grateful for the foundation for being able to give me that opportunity to be able to go home and have that last moment with her.
Help send a hero home for the holidays. Call now, 1-800-760-KFMB, 800-760-5362.
Here, Esther, have it all. Esther's pretty amazing. 1-800-760-KFMB. So, I want to give a shout out. $500 donation from Dennis and Karen and Caden. Thank you, family. And someone drove to the station here to drop off a $100 check. Grateful for that. That happens every once in a while. You can drop it off here if you'd like, but we make it way easier for you than that, right? No need to hit the road. You can go online if you'd like, 760kfmb.com. Thanks to Mark Anders, $75, Sherry, $25, Brad, $100, Sophia, $100, Elise, $100, and this is super grateful. For the next 2 minutes, this is all you got. This is your last chance to get the part of the $25,000 match as well. We had a $25,000 match about a half an hour ago. So anything up till the top of the hour, a minute and a half from now, will be doubled. So don't shy away, right? Sherry gave $25. That's awesome. Be a part of it. It's just doubled. You just made 50. 1-800-760-KFMB. You've heard these stories for years. You've heard these stories all morning. Nothing's better. I love Jack's approach, saying this is an obligation. This is your duty. We live in America. We live in San Diego. Here's $100. Warriors, go home. Enjoy Christmas. And there's no one better than the Warrior Foundation. Sandy's created this unbelievable machine that has the perfect rating from Charity Navigator. You don't have to worry about that. Everything is going to our warriors and for things that are of the utmost importance as well. So you can rest assured with that. And think of whoever you want when you're giving this donation. Think of a family member, someone you know in honor, in their memory. If you want to say that to the person who picks up the phone, they'll give it to me and I'll announce it on the radio if you'd like, but you know who you're giving it to. Or think of these veterans that you've heard from today. Think of Esther, so she can go home and be with her grandmother for the last time this Christmas, because she's done so much for you and me. 1-800-760-KFMB or 760kfmb.com.
AM 760's Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Radiothon. Donate now. 800-760-KFMB. Here's a reminder. When you need to know, all you need to This is AM 760's Warrior Foundation Freedom Station Radiothon. Help send a warrior home for the holidays. Call now, 800-760-5362. 800-760-KFMB.
America's the greatest country in the world. San Diego's America's finest city. This is the day we prove it. The goal is $103,000 in 1 hour to get to $1 million. Sandy, we can't do it. Why did I even say that? No, take it back. I take it back. We're not going to do that. $100,000 in an hour? I shouldn't have said it. Eric, dump that. Dump it. $100,000.
Can't do it, man.
It's too late. All right, we got to get to $1 million by 3 o'clock. That seems ridiculous. See, Sandy's looking at me. She doesn't think it could be done. All right. Now it's out there. We got to do it. 1-800-760-KFMB.com. 1-800-760-KFMB.com. Call in. We got the volunteers here rolling their eyes, saying it can't be done. Thank you, person, for calling in right now. And you can also donate online, 760KFMB.com. Because right now we're at $897,000, which is absurd. So let's get to $1 million by 3 o'clock. Good night. 1-800-760-KFMB. Adam Rizzo here from Palomar Solar and Roofing. What's going on, Adam?
Good, Mike. How you doing?
Good. Why is this important to you?
You know, the military is obviously very important to us here in San Diego. And for the last couple of years, we've given away systems at the air show, as you know, and you've helped with that. And this year, you know, as by fate, I like to call it, but I got a lead at the office and it had a email address, Warrior Foundation. And I thought, I'm going to call that guy myself. Then I went out, and it happened to be Colonel Martin, and here we are. So, you know, once I got to meet him, and obviously I hear you doing this every year, but I really never understood the full extent and impact that you guys were having on the community. It's unbelievable. Sandy, you've done an amazing job. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's cool. It's cool to talk to Adam here, who's pretty new to the Warrior Foundation, right? I mean, you've helped our vets for a long time, but new to Warrior Foundation, which is cool because we've been doing this Sandy's been doing it for 16 years. I've been doing it for 10, right? So we get it, like we're in it. We've heard these before. I know Brian, right? The whole thing, but it's cool to have like fresh blood. Be like, what's happening here? Who are you people? What are you doing?
Yeah, I definitely didn't understand the extent of it, but what an important mission, and man, to be a small part of it this year, and obviously, I know as a company we're going to commit to being a bigger part of it.
Cool.
Moving forward year after year, so I'm excited to just help in any way we can.
Very good. Adam Rizzo, Palomar Solar and Roofing. 1-800-760-KFMB. I just made a stupid goal for this hour, so I'm going to say the number a lot to remind you. It takes 3 minutes to call in and do it. Or you can go on the website, 760KFMB.com. That takes 20 seconds to do it. 1-800-760-KFMB.com. Sandy is here, and Brian as well. Same thing with all you guys, Brian. Every year we talk, you guys share one new aspect of the story. And one of these days, we'll be 70 years old, and I'll finally get the whole story out of you.
I don't know, man. That's when we start making stuff up.
That's maybe right, too. So Brian told me, and this is your chance to take it back if you lied. You told me that the position you had in the Marines, and I told this to who is it, Stella? I think I told it to Stella earlier, who told it to you on the TV.
Right.
So now it was on Channel 8, so all of San Diego. So you better, if you want to come back on it, this is your chance. Your position that you had in the Marines had a 90% casualty rate.
That's correct.
Think about that. So that means 90% of the guys who did what you did got blown up.
Got injured. Mostly blown up.
What percentage had? You mentioned something about like a certain percentage of them had
70 to 80% were double or triple amputees.
What? I thought it was 50%.
Well,
so of the injuries, so now you are making no. So of the 90%, 70, 80% of them were
double or triple amputees, losing 2 or 3 limbs
because they probably stepped on a mine. What was your job?
I was the point man in a reconnaissance team.
So what does that mean?
It just means I was the first person in the file, so I was holding forward security, I was navigating, and I was sweeping with a minesweeper and scanning for IEDs.
How many people were in this group as you're at the front of?
There's probably like 22 behind me.
So I'm trying to visualize this, right?
Yeah.
So you're in Iraq?
Afghanistan. Sangin Valley.
Are you going door to door? Or are you more in an open area?
More open area, more like going through like their fields and whatnot.
Really? So
yeah.
so 22 guys.
Yeah.
And you're in the front, literally like a single file line?
Right. Yeah, single file line.
And you're the first person.
Yes.
So if you step on something, what happens to the guy next to you?
Hopefully he's far enough away.
Right? How close are you guys?
We tried for about 10-meter separation.
Okay, so that's a lot.
Yes.
Way more than I thought. I was
Yeah.
envisioning close.
It's not, when it's an open field, it doesn't seem that far away. And when like it's potentially someone stepping on a 50-pound bomb, it definitely doesn't seem that far away. But yeah, it would prevent the person being injured if it was like a 20-pound bomb or something like that.
Okay, so the idea is that a guy behind you has much more security
Right.
every step they take.
Right.
Because they know that you
I passed it and
already
didn't get blown
stepped
up.
it.
Yeah.
And is a mine that sensitive? Would you have to step on it?
Oh
Or-
man, they got tricky. So there's a lot of different ones. Like some of them were like pressure release, which means like it would activate after you took your foot off of it.
Would you know once you put your foot on it that something was afoot?
Not all the time, no.
Okay.
Like and then some of them were like they had to be detonated by someone watching
Okay.
the bomb. So like they had to be triggered. So yeah, they had a lot of different styles.
How big were they?
It changed a lot. I think my team, we did call EOD to blow up a 50-pound IED, and then there's plenty of like smaller ones found
So
after I was
if you were to
injured.
step on that, like how big is like the place that you don't step? Right? Is it like a 5-foot don't step zone or?
Hard to tell. Because yeah, like in my area, the common ones were the ones that had to be detonated,
Okay,
triggered
so
by
they
a
see
watcher.
you coming. Wow,
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So anyway, I know I'm going way too much detail, but the idea that anyone would do that is insane to me. Right? And you knew, like and this, the reason I bring this up is because I asked how your recovery was, and you're like, well, I was planning on it.
Yeah.
You knew that this would be a part of your life moving forward.
Right. I thought I was going to be injured a lot worse than I was because I had like a 2-year workup before my deployment. And so whenever we would do casualty drills and whatnot, like the person running it would be like, Riley lost 2 legs. What'd you guys do? Kind of thing. So like, because I was a point man, I was always picked as the person that would be the casualty. So like I had 2 years to work that through.
Like mentally.
Yeah, mentally.
So when it happened, what did you think when it happened? Were you like, I knew it would, or here we go, or?
Like, it was a gunshot that got me. So it was a surprise. And I, like, even when I was being transferred through Camp Bastion through the British nurses, like, we all thought that I was going to keep my leg because it was still attached to my body.
Okay.
And because, like, most people get blown up, most people still don't have that limb attached to them. So, like, I didn't think it was as bad as it was. So even when I found out that I had to make the choice of getting the amputation and that, like, my quality of life would be much better with an amputation.
Oh, interesting.
So that still didn't like pull the carpet out from under me. Like,
Yeah.
I was just prepared for much worse than what actually happened.
1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. It's next level because, we talk about firefighters running into the fire and police officers running to the gunshots and everyone who serves putting their hand up and signing away, up to their life. And that we get all that, or we don't get it, but we say all that. But then you have within that, you who's like, all right, I'll do the job that has its 90% casualty rate. That's a whole next new thing that I can't fathom as a human. Sandy, can you speak to that? Because I know Brian's super humble, and it took me 5 years to drag all this out of him. So is there any more to this story that we need to know, and to him as a man?
Well, I want to share with you that Brian does frequently share with you, never with me. No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. There is a book that was written about our foundation many years ago. It's called After, and it was written by J.B. Bell. And it has his story in it in detail, and he shared with that author a lot more in detail about what he really did for our country. And his chapter is called Secret Squirrel. And he talks about hearing an Iraqi or Afghani the night before having experienced an injury, and he vowed to himself that he would not react to his injury the way that Afghanis did. And so it's an incredible book. It's very heartwarming, not heartwarming in a way that's a positive
I'm
thing,
with it,
but
yeah.
it's amazing to me that there are men and women in this world that so believe what our country stands for that they'll put themselves in harm's way like this.
Yeah.
He knew going in. He knew. And he lives at Freedom Station, and he works out in the gym every day. He is absolutely a wonderful Marine.
So why'd you do it? Why'd you decide to go on the front?
I thought I had the best chance of surviving it, about being able to see the bombs first, navigating the team through any kind of ordeal like that. I just thought I was the best qualified person for that position.
1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. So it wasn't that you thought you were invincible.
Oh, definitely not.
It was I think I can navigate these men through better.
Right.
Yeah. 1-800-760-KFMB or 760KFMB.com. You can donate online. Have you gotten a trip home before?
I have, yes.
When?
It was a couple of years ago.
Where were you here? Like what level of your?
Good question. It was after I was walking again, but I think it was before I got my running leg. So I didn't have the same quality of life that I have now. So it was revitalizing for me to be able to like go back and see my family when I was like still didn't feel 100% physically.
And revitalizing for them, I'm sure too, right? How long was it since they saw you?
Well, they actually were there when I had my amputation. So they were in the hospital. So it'd probably only been like 3 or 4 months since they had seen me. But being able to see me go from like bedridden to walking is it's a stark contrast.
Yeah, that had to be what a gift for them. And that's the other thing, Sandy. I know you keep bringing this up. It's the gift to these guys, and then it's the gift for the family.
So when you think about it, one airplane ticket touches 7 to 10 people.
Yeah, that's right.
And he went to Wisconsin. So he's walking on a new leg, and he's in Wisconsin, and he's in the snow and in the cold, and he did just fine walking on that leg in the snow.
That's great.
And that was good for that whole family to be able to be reunited.
1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. Give $500 and send these guys home for Christmas, or $1,000, or $10,000. Or $100 would be great too. 1-800-760-KFMB, whatever you can do. 1-800-760-5362 or 760KFMB.com. Sandy, on the phone right now, we have our good friends from the Blue Angels Foundation.
Mike, can you hear me?
Hey, good afternoon. How are you guys doing?
We're doing outstanding. In fact, we're doing Blue Angel outstanding.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody in San Diego.
Hey, Mike, listen, you guys, there's a lot of veteran charities in the country, right? And you guys are a national organization. So why is the Warrior Foundation close to your guys' heart?
Well, we've had a presence in San Diego going way back with Naval Air Station, Miramar, the ships that are in and out of San Diego, and we've had just a tremendous relationship with Sandy and Warrior Foundation and Freedom Station for a number of years, and are just so excited about the work they're doing. That guy you just had on was extraordinary, and bless him and prayers for him and everybody at Freedom Station this holiday season. They're just tremendous people.
So are you guys. Do you have an announcement to make, sir?
We do. We've already let Sandy know, but I'm happy to inform the community of San Diego and all of you that once again, we're going to make our annual contribution of $60,000 to Freedom Station.
Now we're talking.
That should get the wheels moving there. And we're excited and happy to share that. And this is going to be a big day. I remember that I think last year the community raised over $1 million, and I hope you guys push it to 1.2 or 1.3 this year. I think you can do it.
Yeah, we're almost at. We're at we were at 899,000, and then we're going to add your 60, so we're almost at $1 million right now.
So it's only 2:15 out there. How long are you on the air?
Still 6. So we got
So
now.
I think you're gonna you got a shot at doing a lot more.
Well, this
you could get to 1.3.
This helps. It always feels weird when you give this donation. I feel like we should be donating money to you, right? Like
No, no. It all needs to go to places like Freedom Station. I mean, the gentleman that was just on,
Brian, who's here right now still.
Hey, Brian. Brian and his fellow servicemen and women. I think, there was a real tragedy in Pensacola this morning. This domestic violence. Who knows whether it's going to be declared terrorism or not? But losing 3 people at Naval Air Station Pensacola this morning. There are men and women serving all over the world today, and at this time of year, we all need to be so thankful for the men and women that are in uniform today, and for the men and women like Brian who have come home injured and wounded. We just really need to take care of them. These are our finest men and women. They're courageous. They're passionate about our country. The people that are leading businesses in San Diego, these are great men and women to hire. They're just extraordinary folks. So, Brian, I'm glad to hear you're doing so great. And Sandy, please give my regards to everybody there for a great holiday season.
Thank you, Mike, so very much. I count on you guys every year. And the guys are treated by the Blue Angel Foundation every year to an incredible week where they get to golf and be with the other Blue Angel teams. And it's quite a pairing. It's quite amazing to watch.
Yeah, that's neat. Can you speak, Mike, can you speak to that for a second? You guys in the sky, Brian here and the other guys on the ground. Like, what's that relation? I know there's a joking rivalry between it too, right? But in seriousness, what's the connection that you guys have with each other?
Well, serving in general, I mean, the people that have worn our nation's uniform, I mean, there's no higher honor than wearing our nation's uniform. So there's a common bond there. And then, the people that are on the ground, quite frankly, are doing all the very difficult work and the very, very dangerous work. And Brian did a good job describing his personal mindset of being the best and wanting to lead his team. And it's very dangerous work. And the possibility of being injured is extreme. The people that are flying and flying missions today, they're supporting the people on the ground. So Brian could probably tell you there's times when he's had to call in or somebody's helped call in some support from the air, and the people that are flying are happy to provide that. So there's a real team effort there to accomplish a mission. And we're really grateful for the work they do, and I know they're grateful for the work that we do on behalf of them.
I would say you still are. You still are providing the support. Blue Angels Foundation, is there a website people can go to learn more about y'all?
BlueAngelsFoundation.org, O-R-G, Blue Angels with an S, foundation.org. And but I'd really like people to focus on Freedom Station and Warrior Foundation today. That's what this call is all about. And the work you're doing there today, and support them and make this the biggest day they've ever had.
We're on our way. Thanks to you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
All
Mike.
right.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody. Take care. Thank you, Brian. See you.
$60,000 right there from Blue Angel Foundation. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend on the phone. I was driving up 15 by Miramar, and there weren't the Blue Angels, but there were 4 fighter jets doing. They were all next to each other, like Blue Angel style. And I was like, "Hold on, man!" And the thing went, and they did a peel off, and one went right over me. I was like, "Yes!" That was just yesterday. So that was these guys. So appreciate that, Mike. Sandy, so I've been thinking about this today, with all these people donating, right? So 1-800-760-KFMB.com. We're at $960,000. We've got half an hour left to get to the million. So Storm gave $100, Jim gave $100, Mary $50, Albert $100, Justin $50, another $250 right here. Oh, we got some remembrances here. Christine Laframboise donated $100 in honor of Randy Rundle, 95 years old. He's on hospice care, but still an outstanding Marine. I bet Randy give a good oorah. Patricia Mumford, $50 in memory of Val, also forever a Marine. This is Miss Truitt, $500 in honor of my loving husband, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Truitt, who has completed 2 tours in Iraq. So thank you to all those donations. So Sandy, I wonder when people donate all this money, who they imagine they're donating to, like when they send them home, right? That's what it's about. It's about sending them for Christmas. So, like, do you think? Who do you imagine is the question, right? Are you imagining Esther, who's going home to visit her grandma for the last time? Are you imagining someone with missing limbs? Are you imagining Chris, whose wife is coming?
Remember,
to see him?
I handed the cards out to them.
You know exactly who it is.
So I've got.
What's the amalgamation of it all, though, right? If you like in one person, like who is it to you? Who is this person you're giving this gift to?
It's a person who probably has suffered some type of an injury, fallen off the back of a 7-ton truck or an MRAP, or in training up at Camp Pendleton. And it's someone who is young. Okay. It's someone who maybe hasn't been home for 2 years and probably can't afford to get the ticket, especially now if they're just getting their medical clearance and their military clearance, probably can't afford to buy that $600 ticket. And so that person is going to their squad leader, then it's got to go up the chain of command, then they got to get their leave time, then they've got to go to the doctors, or the squad leaders help them, and they get their clearance from their medical doctor, and then they finally find out they're going home. Yeah. And I'm sure that these guys' bags are already packed. I'm sure they're ready to roll.
So when you give the pamphlet or the cardboard,
it's a postcard,
and it says,
and the postcard simply says, "You're going to wake up in your own bed in your own state with your own family. Warrior Foundation Freedom Station is honored to fly you home for the holidays."
I tear up every time you say that. You've said it like 10 times today. I tear up every single time. Is there just a...
This year, guess what? They were red, white, and blue postcards.
As they should be, Sandy. Why did that take so long?
Really?
Is there just like... Because they're standing in formation, right? So they can't like jump up and down.
It's kind of like watching the wave without them being able to move.
Yeah.
Right? You see the electricity.
Wave. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you definitely feel it though, right? You see it and feel it going across.
And you don't really get a response until they break formation and they're away from formation, right? So we can't really hand it out while they're doing their military things. So we kind of wait till they're away from that, and then they'll come up and talk to us and tell us. And I ask them, "Where are you going?" "Texas." "Where are you going?" And then the gentleman says to me, can I go to Hawaii?" I'm like, "It is part of the United States. You betcha." You betcha. Yeah. So we send them to Guam. Once in a while, there's someone special. And sometimes there's a caretaker that needs to go with one of our warriors, so we'll make that happen.
Absolutely.
And sometimes there's a mom that needs to come here because that doctor just won't let that guy go quite yet, or girl. And so we bring mom or dad in so that they can be with their warrior for Christmas.
Of course we'll do that.
The colonel has to get a hotel room set up for them and get them all squared away.
They came, did someone drop them off? Oh, wow. People keep doing this. It's pretty funny. People dropping off at the front desk, which is great. Alan and Norma, $500. $500 check right there. And then, oh, this is good. What are these guys about? This is the San Diego County Hope United Methodist Church. Gave $4,000.
So every time one of our warriors moves in, there are 2 baskets that are placed inside the cottages before they move in. One is items to eat and snacks and things for the first night, and the other one is cleaning equipment and all the things that you need kind of to make your house a home. That all comes from that church.
No kidding.
So all year long, they're contributing as our warriors move out and new warriors move in.
How do they know you guys? How do you guys know them? Do you have a connect? Do you know?
They connected with us many years ago.
No kidding.
Many years ago, probably around 2005.
Wow. What a great outreach for their ministry. Just that's a great ministry to have chosen you guys. That's great. So it's San Diego County Hope United Methodist Church. Thanks guys. $4,000. You kidding me? That's great. 1-800-760-KFMB. We might get to 1 million. What do you say? We got a half an hour left here. 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. If the volunteers are clapping, that means they're not answering phones. 1-800-760-KFMB or 760KFMB.com. You can donate online. Adam Rizzo, Palomar Solar and Roofing. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey.
Brian. Good.
Thanks.
Brian, and of course, Sandy Lemcool. Mike Slater Show. 1-800-760-KFMB.
Warrior Foundation.
An event that maybe raises $40,000, and we're going to get it in 20,
not you.
20,
Everybody's not
24
you.
minutes.
But everybody's not you.
Well, I
yeah, and you got
appreciate that, but I don't.
The three to do it right here.
Is it?
Oh, great.
Yeah, there you go. I'm putting it on you guys now, not less on me. 1-800-760-KFMB. Eric's got a fancy schmancy sounder he's going to play when we hit $1 million, if we hit it in the next 24 minutes, and I doubt it. But let's get as close as we can. 1-800-760-KFMB. Phones are not full, and we're going to need them to be full. The whole 24 minutes. Or you can donate online, 760kfmb.com, 760kfmb.com. You can donate there. We got to get $39,000 in order to get to $1 million by 3 o'clock, and that is ridiculous.
See, the phone's ringing.
Okay. All right. Answer quick and write down quick because we gotta increase the turnover.
We gotta keep
We
going.
have fast turnover here, boys. We got Greg Martin here,
right
the
there.
new president. Oh, that's $1,000 right there. 40 of those in the next 23 minutes, and we'll be good to go. We got Junior, of course, and Jesse, who I haven't seen in years. I don't even recognize you anymore. How are you, brother?
Pretty good.
Sandy, we got all the mics here, Eric. Sandy, a second ago, just started bawling, which is, standard. But this was a little more so. And she says, I just got my own present flown in for Christmas. I said, what, Sandy? Jesse! They flew All right, what happened, Junior, to get this handsome man here?
So Jesse is one of our stellar athletes, and he's at the University of Arizona. He's a Wildcat right now, playing adaptive golf. And Sandy tends to stress a little. You would never guess it, though. So she was really stressed on the Warriors. So
I'm here.
So I called Jesse and I was like, "Hey man, I'm flying
Sandy, come
you
here
out."
real quick. Why does this ragtag bearded guy mean so much to you?
I don't know. He's always been near and dear to my heart, and we've known each other for a long time. He was dirt biking at the beginning of life and racing on motorcycles, and I was worried about him then getting hurt even more. And then we found out that a leg one of your prosthetics was not in good shape, and we made that happen, and we helped with, I don't know, he just needed help, and I was going to make sure that he was a success.
Would you be where you are right now without Warrior Foundation?
Definitely not.
What are your injuries?
Just double below knee amputations.
What happened?
You want the whole story?
Yeah, give me the 2-minute version.
All right. So basically, we got called out on a QRF mission.
Where?
This was in Afghanistan. 2000.
What's QRF?
Quick Reaction Force. This was in Bakwa, Afghanistan. And
means we're the backup. It
Yeah.
means
So
when
one of
somebody
our
gets
buddies.
in trouble, we go in and get them.
Yeah. One of my buddies had gotten killed the night before, so we got sent out to kind of set up a cordon around the vehicle to make sure no Taliban or anybody ran up, tried to steal any of the equipment, and the Humvee was blown all the way off the road, so they had to call in a wrecker, which is a big old tow truck, to come get it. And basically on our way back from that mission is when we got hit. I was
back from it.
Yeah, on our
That's
way back.
annoying.
Yeah, so they saw us leave the base and then pretty much planted a bunch of bombs waiting for us to come back.
Oh, wow.
So, it just shot me 60 feet because I was in the turret. I was a machine gunner. It just shot me 60 feet in the air. Landed back on the Humvee. I got wedged in between the spare tire and the trunk. And my staff sergeant, who was in the vehicle behind me, ran up, grabbed me, jugged me off, saved my life. Killed all my buddies inside. There's 5 of us. And lost 12 Marines there that year. So
You were the survivor out of the 6.
I was the 5. Yeah, of the 5. Out of the 5. Yeah.
How's that? What do you think of that? How do you feel about that?
I don't know, honestly. So this was in 2009. I'll just talk a little bit about Sandy and Warrior Foundation. They were the first people that we really saw when we were coming to the hospital. So Sandy, what they do with Warrior Foundation, Freedom Station, with bringing in guys to come to stay at their house that they have for them is really great. But the one thing that really stands out to me is that how they're there every single day with us, making sure that we're okay. They just they're like our moms, they're like, it's sometimes got annoying, but it needed to be done. And
It's better that than the alternative, which is not there.
Yeah, and so they have huge hearts, and I really don't mess around with too many foundations, but I'll always be a part of Warrior Foundation.
Cool, man.
Their family.
Colonel, Jesse was under your command?
So yes, he was not in a combat environment, but after he actually got hurt, he was in my battalion at Wounded Warrior Battalion West, and so I just got reacquainted with Jesse really in the last 6 months after not seeing him for quite a while, and he approached me at a golf course and reminded me of the last time that we met, and I won't go into detail on that except to say that he's in a hell of a lot better place now than he was then. And I guess it gratified me that I had enough sense to keep a long-range perspective. He had just lost a couple legs, a few months before the meeting we had when he was under my command, and I'm just awfully proud of where he was then and where he is now is just an awesome success story.
What mental headspace are you in at that point, at the time that the Colonel was talking about?
I was lost. I wasn't a very good person. I was just angry, and you feel like it's because you go from being a Marine to a patient, so that whole process is just kind of it's hard all on its own, and then you got to deal with all the amputations, and then you also have to deal with the families of your brothers that have were killed, and then that just brings up a whole more of emotions. So I was a lost person, and luckily with great people and support, I'm starting to do better. It's still a struggle every day, but they definitely make it easier.
Beautiful, man. Did you ever get a plane? By the way, 1-800-760-KFMB. Please call. Think of Jesse when you do. That's $1,000 right there. I've heard a few of those. We still got a lot to go in 17 minutes, though.
We're going to do it.
1-800-760-KFMB. 1-800-760-5362. There's 2 phones that are empty, and Adam's one of the guys who's going to pick up the phone. So if you're one of the next 2 callers right now, Adam will pick up, and Adam is awesome and one of our warriors who we just heard from a little bit ago. If you're fortunate enough to talk to him. 1-800-760-KFMB, or you can donate online, 760kfmb.com. Looks here we still need 30-something thousand in order to get to the million in the next 17 minutes. What was I going to ask you, Jesse? Oh, did you get a flight home ever?
Yes, I do have one. I just haven't decided if I'm going to go home or not.
Yeah. Have you had one in the past? Did you have one in the last couple of years?
I get one every year.
Nice.
Pretty much whenever I ask, they help me out. You know, it's not just to like a limited to a one-time thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah, so this is important. Remember, this is what we're saying. Some guys are like, oh, I don't need to go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
But my best friend or my brother's getting married in July.
Yeah.
Can I go fly to the wedding in July instead?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the point. It's not necessarily Christmas. It's the whole thing. Junior, we've got a few minutes, brother. And we haven't had time to dive deep into you yet. I think when we talked a couple weeks ago was the first time you told me that was it contemplated or attempted suicide?
I had a suicide attempt.
Yep.
And
how many years ago?
6 years ago.
Okay.
So it was. I was in treatment for post-traumatic stress, and excuse me. And when you kind of have to face yourself, it's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. I had multiple combat deployments. I saw a lot of my friends get killed. As a corpsman, you take care of everybody. You take care of the enemy that was just shooting at you.
Wow.
You take care of kids that were at the wrong place at the wrong time. You take care of civilians that were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But first and foremost, you take care of your brothers.
You're last on that list of people to take care of.
It is. It's always been self-aid, buddy aid, corpsman aid. But when you're the corpsman, you push that to the bottom. So
wow. Say it again. I've never heard that before. Say it again.
It's self-aid, buddy aid, then corpsman.
Who's that? Who says that?
That's the law of combat.
Self, buddy, corpsman.
There's one of us per squad. So.
But if you're the corpsman, you're the last on the list.
You are.
We call them devil docs. Devil doc.
But that's why we teach our Marines combat lifesaver, because you never know when you're going to get hit. And when you get hit, you hope that everything that you taught them actually sinks in, and they were paying attention, and they weren't just like, "Oh, Doc, why are you talking?"
So why was what was going through your head when you were at the depths of your depth?
You know, I've been asked that question numerous times, and all I can really tell you, it was a Friday night. I was in treatment. I was supposed to go out to dinner with my cohort, and I told them that I wasn't feeling good. Somehow, between that time, I walked across the street. I grabbed alcohol. I walked back across the street to my barracks that I was inpatient at, and I took an abundance of pills. Luckily, the duty was doing his job. They found my body and started CPR. They called 911. The fire station to the barracks was probably a minute and a half away. So by the time they got in the building, it was probably been like another 2 to 3 minutes that I wasn't responsive. They did CPR on me more than they should have. They defibrillated me. They were able to get a pulse, get me. The hospital actually wasn't going to take me because they were like, he's not going to make it.
I didn't know your pulse stopped.
Yeah, I was just completely dead. I succeeded.
Yeah.
But on the way there, I crashed a bunch of times. They were actually physically doing CPR when they took me into the hospital, and there was a guardian angel on my shoulder that night. It was a doctor that knew who I was, and he said that he wasn't going to have to make a phone call to my parents, who he knew, and tell them that I didn't make it, that he didn't try. They were able to resuscitate me. I was in the ICU for a couple weeks. I don't remember what was really going through my head. And the question that was always asked for me is, well, why? You were smiling, you were laughing, you were happy, and it's hard for someone to fathom that when you're in that deep depth, you don't really talk about it. You kind of just go through the motions, and you don't let anybody know. I lied to doctors, I lied to nurses, I lied to psychiatrists, psychologists that I was fine. And when I came to, there was a nurse. She was about to retire. And she was like, you know, I'm not here to judge you, which you know you're getting judged when somebody tells you that. You're like, okay. And she was like, you've been asleep for a couple weeks, and I've never seen the amount of people come in and out of your room. I don't know what caused you to do what you did, but you've obviously touched and meant a lot to a lot of people. So for the second time in my life, I felt like a failure.
Wow.
I was like, I can't even kill myself right. I mean, come on. How hard is this? And I made a promise that day that I get it. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. But obviously, I'm not meant to leave yet. A couple weeks later, I met probably the most amazing lady in my life. 2 women, actually, Sandy and Judy. And they forever changed my life. And if it wasn't honestly for Sandy and Judy, I probably wouldn't be here. And I can honestly say that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, brother. Colonel, when you hear, as an old man, when you hear these young men.
I'm not that young. I'm actually one of the older. Right?
I'm not that old.
Well, the whole premise of my question's gone then. When you hear what they've done, in their service, so the warriorness of them, and then the efforts of recovery and the depths and the coming out of the depths and the heights that they're on now and the path they're on now. Like, how do you feel about that whole thing?
I guess, one of my first emotions for these two in particular is just proud based on where they were and where they're at now. And also I just applaud them for sharing their stories because I think it's an inspiration to others. And we have a national responsibility to take care of these guys who we send into really, really crappy environments pretty early in their lives. And I guess the expression, all gave some gave all comes to mind. Fortunately, they didn't quite give it all, but they gave a hell of a lot. And very proud of them. And just as an American who was not hurt in combat, I feel a sense of responsibility to help make their futures as good as they can possibly be. So thank you both for having the courage to share that.
Yes, amen to the sharing it, 100%. I hope you guys do. I know you, right? I mean, you guys do, right? To help, that's the only way to help people is to share it so they know they're not alone. Because I'm sure you guys felt alone when you were. But Colonel, you hit that. I mean, after all these years of doing it, so you served almost 30, right? No injuries, and you feel a responsibility. So if you feel a responsibility, how the heck should I feel, who hasn't even joined? I didn't even join the military. What's my responsibility to do what I can to make sure that these guys continue to thrive in life? Way more than yours. You paid 30 years. I haven't paid nothing. I paid my taxes, but that's it.
So I just want to say something real quick because I wanted to talk about my incident and how the colonel helped me out. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had popped on a piss test about 2 or 3 months before I was going to get out. And
I feel like there's a lot of Marine language there that we could translate.
So a positive test for a urinalysis for illicit substances.
Thank you, Colonel. Yes, please continue, Jesse.
We got to keep it simple. Kiss.
Sorry. And, they could have kicked me out of the Marine Corps without any benefits or anything, but I went there and I wrote a letter because it was like a board that I had to go up in front of. And I couldn't read it, so I had the colonel read it. And they just got me out of the Marine Corps a little early so that it wouldn't affect my benefits, because if I didn't have my benefits, I'd probably be screwed, So they could have kicked me out though, but fuck.
Colonel's helping our guys out.
Yeah.
1-800-760-KFMB. 1-800-760-5362. Let's give a call here. Help these guys out. Help these guys continue to thrive. Help these guys to continue to share their stories to other men and women who are in their same situation, so that we can prevent guys like this from spiraling out, right? What's a good word for it? How would you describe it? From bottoming out, from spiraling, from whether you commit suicide or not, just
you bottom out.
Wasting your...
You just feel lost.
You bottom out and you feel alone, lost. It's kind of like a black plethora of nothing. Yeah. Nothing brings happiness. You can smile and pretend. I can sit here and be like, hey man, had the time of my life last night. We had a blast last night. But in reality, it's just a big empty hole that I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why am I even here?
I think it's a lot of it has to do with when you're in such an extreme environment for a while, and then you come back, everything else is kind of dulled down, so you just don't feel as happy towards anything.
Makes perfect sense.
It's kind of messed up, but it's an adrenaline rush that you'll never understand, and unfortunately, statistically speaking, everyone tries to find that adrenaline. That's why we do stupid things like hey, let's go skydiving and let's open the chute like 1,000 feet under. Let's ride a motorcycle at 180 miles and weave through traffic.
All that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect academic sense. I can't understand it, but that makes perfect sense.
You're trying to get that high.
Yeah.
Maybe like instead of adrenaline, like what's going home? What's seeing your family? It's not adrenaline maybe, but it's, I don't know, some sort of love, something that can fill part of that.
Family is probably the most important thing. You have a bunch of infantry guys, grunts, that are typical alpha males. We like to put on this big game that that nothing really bothers us, that nothing really affects us. But in reality, the touch of your daughter's hand, the touch of your mother's love, your dad just being there, having family. Sometimes family isn't blood. Sometimes family is just the person next to you. I don't have any brothers, but Jesse's one of the closest. Jesse and Brian Riley are probably two of the closest people that I have to brotherhood.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I have a lot of my Marines that I deployed with that are like my brothers. And nothing against my sisters. I have 3 of them. So if you guys are listening, I love you guys to death.
They're the worst, but these bros. No,
but it's just something different.
No,
I
you
mean,
can't. They can't be simulated. But the home is an important ingredient here, and that's why you're here right now. So listen. Here's the deal. If you were moved at all by Jesse and Junior here, if you were moved at all, give a couple bucks here to Warrior Foundation Freedom Station, so you can send guys like this home for Christmas. 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. Want to thank Christopher, giving $100, giving a shout out to Naval Class 97. Daniel East, $40 in honor of John East in Grenada. And Richard Bonhorant, $200 in memory of Robert H. Johnson, who's a Marine from World War II. So you can see the tradition continues with these men. And one more, Julia Hardesty, whose father flew B-29, B-52s in 3 different wars. Pretty awesome, donating as well. So if you want to give a shout out, by all means, call in 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-KFMB. So again, if you were moved at all by Jesse and Junior here, please send a plane, give $100.
I want to hear what the sound is. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, we didn't hit it.
What? Our time's over?
No, we got to come back with Brett because we'll give us the commercial break at the top to add it up. So we'll come back and we'll do the grant. We'll see if we hit the $1 million. But we got 2 minutes left. We'll give you a couple minutes afterwards to see how close we can get to that $1 million. 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. And then again, I'll leave you with the words from the colonel that he spent 30 years in the Marines and never got injured. And he feels a responsibility to give to the Warrior Foundation so that these guys can continue to thrive in life. If he feels a responsibility after giving 30 years, what responsibility do I, a mere civilian, feel like I must give back to these guys? 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362, or you can donate online, 760kfmb.org.